Potato is tomato.
Hello, today is February 22nd, 2022.
Today we are going to be talking about the convoy.
Now, the convoy has been going on for quite a while, correct, Bucket?
Yes, it has been. And that's actually what's going to lead us to into our first topic. And why don't you start us off, Ricey boy?
Actually, before I do, I just want you guys to understand that everyone has their own opinion, and yes, we are taking sides, so we are sorry if you get upset and you don't want to listen anymore. We totally get it. Now, our first topic is going to be the March at Parliament. Now, the March at Parliament, this was a pretty serious thing when the quotes and quotes Freedom Convoy first started, and we understand that, like we said, we are taking sides to this story, so we will be saying some things a little political in this episode. So, like I said, the March at Parliament was a difficult thing to understand at that time because nothing. It was very serious, the amount of people that showed up to protest against this, to getting their second vax, which I think is pretty dumb. Now, if you have any words on that, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff on the news. We've talked about it a lot in school. And it was super serious. There was a lot of problems from all of the trucks there, because of the fumes coming from the trucks. There was a lot of people had to evacuate the buildings, and some people got sick.
Yeah, like I said, it was actually pretty serious. That also brings us into our next thing. Now again, quotes unquotes, the Freedom Convoy, they went through several different cities to protest, not just in Ottawa, and one of them we actually came to was Hamilton. Now, I wasn't there at that time to see it. I kind of wish I was, just to see what they were doing and kind of get an understanding of the little thing that was going on at Parliament. I know it was totally not the same that was happening at Parliament, and it was just going to be a smaller thing, and they'd be there for one day instead of almost a couple of weeks. And like I said, I wasn't there for that. Unfortunately, I just feel like it would kind of be funny to see. And yeah, Bucket, if you saw it, that would be awesome. Give us your thoughts on that.
I actually didn't see it go through Hamilton. But there is probably a lot of videos out there that we probably could look up. But yeah, there's a lot of these protests going around because the initial convoy movement was created in protest of the vaccine mandates for crossing the United States border, but then a group of people with their own agenda came in and turned it into a COVID-19 mandates protest just in general, with lots of hateful messages.
Now, a super serious thing that happened was the marching and the camps on the Ambassador Bridge. I know people brought recliner chairs and blocked it off on the bridge so that important trucks with food and different, honestly, daily things you use couldn't get by, which was causing problems for shipping and stuff. And I just feel like that brings it off to a whole other level, having blocking, having a 6 and almost 7 day blockade on a bridge to prove that you shouldn't get your second vaccination. I just found it so dumb that they'd have to go. Like, I get that some people will say, oh, it's a protest and they're just doing what they think is right, but I still feel like it was just too much for what they were protesting against.
Yeah, like it was really blocking off a lot of different companies from getting their goods across the Ambassador Bridge, and it affected a lot of different companies because then they couldn't get their products to where they needed to be and they couldn't get it sold. So it was a really big thing at the time, and I remember seeing it a lot in the news and all that. Um, and some of the other things that happened was the graffiti. Um, like as you know, there was a lot of graffiti pretty much everywhere, and it was actually on the Terry Fox statue, and it was defacing the Terry Fox statue, and it was kind of disgusting because they were using the Terry Fox statue to represent their protest, which is horrible because we everyone knows that Terry Fox would never support anything like this, and it's really horrible.
Yeah, like I said about the Ambassador Bridge, they totally brought this to a whole other level by, like you said, defacing the Terry Fox statue to represent what they're representing, and uh, and because Terry Fox unfortunately passed away of cancer, he doesn't have a say on what they do, so it's really against the law there.
Yeah, like it's just really disgusting how they would use something like such a big symbol for something really that stupid. It's just it really it's just it bothers me and it doesn't make any sense to me, and it's it's just horrible that because it's defacing that statue and that person who did a lot of work, and they're just using that as a symbol, and it's really bad.
Now, also, there were some swastikas on signs, which the swastika is a horrible symbol and should never be brought back. And I just feel like once again they totally brought it up to a whole other level that it didn't need to be on. Like, you can have like a march for a couple of hours and then stop there, but for almost like 2 weeks, I just feel like it's a whole other thing. It's a symbol that the Nazis used in the Second World War. I'm not going to explain a lot about it because we're kind of getting off topic, but it's a horrible symbol and we do not support it.
Yeah, another thing that happened was at the parliament, there was a lot since there were so many people there for such a long time, there was multiple like camps set up where people would like feed the people from the convoy, and they would have food, shelter, and all that to give to the people who were protesting. Which then do you? This is up to you, Resi Boy. But does does that actually make them part of the protest?
Now, it's so dumb. They were basically celebrating that they're, once again, quotes on quotes, saving Canada, which is just, I'm going to be saying this a lot in this podcast, just super dumb. And yeah, like you said, they are supporting the convoy by feeding the convoy, giving them energy to to keep going and staying there for longer. So yeah, they would be, in my eyes, technically, yeah, they would be a part of the convoy there.
Yeah, and like as you know probably now, the convoy it at the parliament it had the streets are now cleared. I did actually hear that there was like a stage with performers at the convoy, so it was, yeah, as you said, like celebrating what which was kind of, it was really disgusting to just hear about that. And it's like it's not a celebration. It's a serious matter, and I feel like they could have handled it a bit differently. And sure, maybe a protest is the best way to get people to know about it, but I don't think they had to go that extreme. And now that it's over, at this is just at the Parliament where all this in Ottawa, where all the streets were all blocked up and all that. There was in that week or two that they were protesting. There was almost 200 people that were arrested, and almost 60 vehicles that were towed away, with over maybe around 75% of those arrests pressed with charges. So it's a really big thing, and it's not like the police just went in there, started arresting. There was lots and lots of warnings, and no one was doing anything, so they had to go in there as nicely as possible and slowly get the crowd thinner and thinner until there was no one left.
Yeah, it's and especially like you said, all those people were arrested and the 60 vehicles were towed, and how you said the police weren't going in there and just arresting people out. They were actually spending a lot of time recording what the license plates on the truck said, just recording every little detail on a pencil and paper. And I totally think they made the right call, because the truckers in the convoy that were doing bad stuff, like you said, defacing the Terry Fox statue, they were like, oh, there's so many of us, they'll never find out who it was. But in the end, we did, and I think that's amazing what the police did there.
Yeah, to those people, like the apartments and all that were nearby, I do feel bad for them, because the honking of the horns, the music, all of that, it must have been super annoying, and probably a lot of sleepless nights for those people. And with all the fumes and all that coming from the trucks, it must have been absolutely horrible to have to live in that apartment. And I saw a lot about that, and I don't think that the protesters really acknowledged, or if they did, they really just didn't care about those other people who really just didn't want to be involved.
Yeah, especially how some of the protesters were actually taking their business on lawns, which I think is disgusting, and that they should have been pressed charges for fertilizing on someone's lawn, which I think is horribly disgusting. And like I said, the police did a great job at the charges.
Yeah, and I also heard that there was a lot of lawsuits and stuff going to the people from the people who lived in the apartments to the people who were in the convoy. I heard a lot of that, and it sucks because I don't think a lot of them were actually won, because it was hard to target a lot of people. But now the streets, as I said before, all of the streets in Ottawa, they're cleared by now. I think they were cleared a day or two ago. And I do hope that it stays that way, because as you probably know, the way the police got the people to leave, at first they just told them multiple times about the risks of staying there. And after no one was leaving, they had to slowly close in the perimeter, allowing people, they weren't circling them, they were allowing people to leave. But if anybody tried to challenge them or anything, those people would get arrested. And I did hear that at one point they used horses to because there were some people that were being aggressive towards the police and harming the police and trying to grab for the police's guns. So I did hear that they did use some horses, and they came in there, and I did hear that like there was one person who got trampled, but they were pretty much okay. But it wasn't like they just did it for no random reason. They gave multiple warnings, and they did it really to keep everyone else safe there. Um, but the streets are now cleared. They have got everyone out of there, and yeah.
Now, do you think that it's actually over? Like, it obviously isn't, because this isn't going to be the first protest that some of the truckers make. There'll obviously be smaller ones, so the police, the smaller and shorter ones, so the police can't come in and arrest them if they're just supporting. And what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's done, or do you think it'll never end?
Well, I do want to say though, before I answer that, not the saying truckers, it's not really the right term. I just want to tell everyone it's because not all people who drive trucks, not all of them, like are in on it. Only I think it's like I don't know how many, like the percent of how many truckers, but it's not all the truckers who are in on it. And when it got to like when the Terry Fox statue was graffitied on, like a lot of people, like a lot of the truckers kind of just left because they just thought it was about the passports and all that for vaccinations, and they really didn't want it to go that much farther. And when it did, a lot of people did leave, but there were still a lot of people, and it wasn't just people who drove trucks. There was like people who supported the truckers that were joining in on the protest. There was truckers, yes, but there wasn't all truckers, and I just wanted to say that. But yeah, for what you just said, is it really over? Um, I I don't think so. We won't really know until we see more of the news, but I hope it is because it was a really big thing. But that was probably just one of the main protests. There are probably going to be some more that do come up. Maybe not as big, maybe bigger, who knows? But I do think that if there are, I don't think it'll be that big news, and it won't be as big, and I hope it won't be. So I really do hope that it's all done for now. But to be honest with you, I do feel like it may go on for a tad bit longer.
Yeah, totally. This is just a really dumb topic, but also very important. But unfortunately, that brings us to the end of our time today.
Yeah, and I hope everyone has a great day. And thanks for around 900 listens. And it really does mean a lot to us. And I can't wait till we hit that 1K. We really loved making these, and we are glad that people like to listen to them. And if you do have any podcast topics that you'd like to share, we do have our website, which we will be putting in our description, where you can see all of our listening platforms, and it will prompt you with a discussion form that you can fill out. And I hope everyone has a great day.
Now, just before we leave, I just want to say one more thing. Recently, my neighbor's dad just died, and I just want to give him a shout out and I just want to give him some support, and I hope he gets through it all right, and I hope he copes with it well, and just, I'm really sorry about your loss, and that's it.
Potato is tomato.